I just realized I wasn't recording anything. Isn't that awful? I just spent 40 minutes of the best show. I didn't record anything. Oh, well, bummer, people. You lucked out. I just hit the record button. I wrote this post 4 years ago, just after I fully transitioned from paganism to Satanism. That post gives a reasonable summary of what Beltane and Walpurgisnacht. Stop talking to me during the show. My God. Mean to pagans and Satanists. Okay, very close connection here. A few years later, and this celebration resonates with me as much as ever. I think it's probably my favorite time of the year. Now, Sophie and I lead our own coven celebrations, which tend to be raucous affairs. This year, we'll also be squeezing in an extra birthday party for our daughter, Tina, who will go on to enjoy her first full-blooded Walpurgisnacht with the German coven she is in the process of joining. I feel deeply blessed by Satan that my partner and my daughter are fully immersed in Satanism, as am I. Indeed, I am probably more inspired by them than by anybody else. So while we are misbehaving and having riotous fun this weekend, our best wishes go to all fellow Satanists who are partying hard, and blessings also to all pagans and heathens who are celebrating too, in a secondary sense. So, what does the Church of Satan say when it comes to holidays? And this should tell you everything about the opposition. Question. Now, this is being answered by Anton LaVey. What holidays do Satanists celebrate? Answer. Since Satanism is a self-centered religion, service to self, the highest holiday of the year would be the Satanist's own birthday, which needs no ritual, but should be spent in doing the things a Satanist would enjoy. There is no requirement that Satanists celebrate any holidays, and there are no hard and fast traditions or rites associated with them. Since Satanism embraces nature, the other holidays a Satanist might choose to celebrate would be the seasonal turning points marked by the equinoxes and solstices, the dates of which vary from year to year, as well as the midpoints between these, which can be recognized as the climaxes of each season. In particular, April 30th, called Walpurgisnacht, is the spring climax and the anniversary of the founding of the Church of Satan, and is generally noted. Halloween, October 31st, is the fall climax and may be celebrated at a time when one's inner self might be explored through the use of a costume, or one might recall those of importance in one's life who have died, as was done on that night in European tradition. Now, it should just be mentioned here, because it's kind of goes along with what we're saying here, but when asked about the Christmas holiday, Anton LaVey says the Christians stole this holiday from the pagans. Santa Claus has come to signify indulgence, and he is a combination of Dionysus Silenius from the Roman and Greek myths. The Romans celebrated the orgiastic Saturnalia at this time. The Nazarene has little place in the general public celebration of this season, which were meant by pagans to be celebrations of abundance during a season of cold and emptiness. So, for the Yule holiday season, we enjoy the richness of life and the company of people whom we cherish, as we will often be the only ones who know where the traditions really come from. Where the traditions really come from. That's kind of what it's really all about. Well, this is the thing. There's sacrifice. Okay? There's sacrifice. There's blood. Obviously, we talked about that. There's fire. Obviously, they use the fire to consume the sacrifice. So what's the connection with that to the church? Obviously, we see a connection right away with this Walpurgisnacht just happening to be the name of a saint that just happened to be the name that given to this night. Now, I do not think that this celebration was created that night, but they certainly have no problem using that name. So that would suggest, why do the Satanists have no problem using the name of a saint, someone famous for hunting witches, as the name of one of their great holidays? I can't find any sign of them saying anything bad about this Saint Walpurgis, which makes me wonder. Anyway. So obviously, the church, or the people who were running the church, who had infiltrated the church, were picking these days to continue their celebrations and their rituals, so they continue creating this magic. So Beltane, May Day, fertility festival, marking the beginning of summer. You often decorate your neighbor's doorstep with fresh flowers. That's where the whole May Day basket comes from. Going out on picnics with your family, the Easter thing, dancing around the maypole to ensure fertility. Ensure fertility. Let's celebrate the cock so we make sure it works and make it happy. We'll dress it up with flowers. Trust me, a true maypole isn't skinny. It's got lots of girth. It's, you know, I'm sure there was just enough girth on those broomsticks the witches used. And this is important. The whole purpose of this ritual represents the goddess in ascendancy, goddess, Isis, as mother, and the death of the god after the conception of the divine child. Okay, the death of the god, the great fire. They had to do this because their mother of Horus died, obviously. Horus died. They had to come up with great legends to explain that. Saint Walpurga was a 1670 German woman who was an abbess who was responsible for converting the people of her German precinct, whatever it was, village, to Christianity from a pagan time. Of course, they were pagans, and she was responsible for eliminating the witches. But again, how is it that the pagans celebrate a woman responsible for eliminating witches and turning pagans into Catholics? Okay, because that's what she did. Now, this is a Catholic thing. Okay, back to this goddess ascendancy. The death of the god and the divine conception. All right, this goes all the way back to the Egyptian and further back to the Babylonian Isis, Osiris, Horus, Nimrod. Okay, this is all going back to that. And ultimately, I think, Lilith. This is what you need to pay attention to. Why are they killing things? What is that? What's with the killing? What's with this human sacrifice part? Where does that come in? It's in order to celebrate the goddess in ascendancy. The goddess has to die. Part of the ritual is the goddess has to die, the signified goddess, whoever it is they dress up. Now, if you look at history and you look at different cultures and you look at cultures, especially cultures that performed human sacrifice, just imagine what it was like, okay? Because you got to remember, the people that were doing this, especially in Babylonians, you wonder, wow, how could you want to put your baby in the hands of a red-hot statue so it dies and fries in front of every people and screams the instant it touches it? Why would you want to do that? Well, you know, these people thought it was a big deal to be able to be part of that. They celebrated it. The society celebrated. They made a big deal out of it. You think they did this every day? No, they didn't do it every day. They probably did it once a year. But over thousands of years, that's a lot of babies. It's a lot of women. That's a lot of men. So I don't have a Beltane calendar here in front of me, but suffice it to say that the rituals call for sacrifices of an adult male, adult female, and a child. The age of the child isn't important, but it's got to be something other than an adult. And typically, there's a ritual of preparation of the sacrifice. In other words, they don't just go grab a person and say, kill it, go, hey, we're having a sacrifice. No. They take that person and they have to go through a procedure. Now, let's look at, say, the Toltecs. And I've always used the Toltecs as a good example of this because the New Age people like to embrace the Toltecs with the 4 agreements, I think is the book that was basically based on Toltec philosophy. But in the Toltec culture, they used to do their Beltane by taking one of their children out and doing a sacrifice. Now, this is how it went. Obviously, there was a lottery involved. They had to select some child, kind of like we do with our vaccination system. It doesn't kill everybody, but it kills a few. It kills a percentage. That's sort of the way a lottery works. But they would end up with somebody's child would get selected. If you were lucky, guess what? Lucky you get to sacrifice your child. Yay! Little Jimmy gets to be this year's sacrifice. Yay! Oh my, this is wonderful. Oh, Jimmy, you're going to be so loved. Oh, you're going to be so important. Wow, on your sacrifice day, everybody's going to be looking at you, and they're going to be loving you, and they're going to be treating you like a king. They're going to kill you, of course, but right before they kill you, they're going to be treating you so special. And this is what they would do. Now, the Toltecs, what did they do? They would take a child, a designated child, some, virgin, of course, probably a female. I think they're using that female thing again, picking on the females. It wasn't always female, but most of the time it was a female. And they would take this little child, and probably wash her up really nice, give her a little haircut maybe, dress her up in something really fine, feed her something really good. And they would put her on a little pedestal and they would parade her around and everybody would celebrate her. She'd be all decorated, probably had flowers and stuff. They'd give her special drugs and narcotics. She'd be like, Lee, and people, oh, she's holy. Look at her. She's holy. Yeah, she's all fucked up. She's holy. Anyway, so the whole culture, the whole society would go, oh, what a beautiful sacrifice. Look at the beautiful sacrifice she makes. Oh, so-and-so's kid makes such a beautiful sacrifice. And they would go do the sacrifice and everyone would be happy. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I don't want to say that there's nothing that happened in a positive respect from them doing what they did. In other words, when you're doing your ritual to create magic, it's very possible that they did create magic, even if it was completely evil. But if they're trying to ensure a harvest, more than likely it may have had some magical effect. It's kind of like intention, the power of intention, which we can see here can be abused. Now, once again, before I move on, this concept of the goddess in ascendancy. If any of you are involved in the New Age movement, the goddess movement, and the divine feminine movement in any of these type of thinkings. You've got to understand that all of it is based on this, all of it. Now, when I look back at a pagan society like an ancient Celtic society, pre-Christianity, we look upon it as a mostly pagan, of course, but a lot of times people say that the women were running it. It was a lot of feminine energy, and that the people knew there wasn't a patriarchal thing. There was a matriarchal society. It was based on a matriarchal society. But what we see now is this matriarchal society that they're practicing also involves the celebration of the woman prior to the sacrifice of the woman. It's all preparation for that. Now, I know in our society, obviously, there's lots of ways that we do this. They say abortion is one of the ways that kills not only the baby, but it kills the mother. The mother's a victim also. So certainly, you could say that it's at least 3/4 of an attack on women, if half the babies are women. So obviously, this is kind of an anti-woman thing. It all seems to be kind of anti-woman. What we're seeing is all this stuff that's torturing the woman, all this stuff that's celebrating the woman is also intended to torture the woman. There's a torture as part of the component here. Now, let's talk about the Catholic Church. Now, we know the Catholic Church was co-opted, invaded. We certainly know that the connection of the Catholic rituals to the pagan rituals is not an accident. It's not a coincidence. Now, of course, I'm very disturbed by this, Purgisnacht being a major satanic holiday. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But when I think about it and I realize it, this is a practice of witches. It's all about the witches, the Wiccan women, the goddess types. Well, ultimately, they burn the witches at the stake. When they burn the witches at the stake, they're celebrating the goddess in ascendancy. Now, who was burning the witches at the stake? It was the Christians, the Puritans, the Catholics. So when they were burning those women, were they punishing them, or were they actually carrying out ancient pagan rituals of burning goddesses in ascendancy and celebrating the death of the god after the conception of the divine child? Divine child, of course, in this case being Horus. Horus's mother, Isis, Osiris, Nimrod's mom. I hate to tell you that, but the Madonna and Child is based on Nimrod and his mother. That's why the Catholics are so into it. They like the mother and child thing. The divine, the death and the ascendancy of the mother, and the death of the God mother after the conception of the divine child. So this is pretty complex. Once again, when I look at Satanism and I look at the rituals that they go through, even there's something as simple as this pagan shit that goes on in Scotland, what have you, during the Beltane celebrations. It's the women running around naked, people. That's not a celebrating the goddess thing, I don't think. I think that's kind of more like exploiting it. So ultimately, that's what this is really all about. It's exploiting the women. It's destroying the creator of the human. Yeah, sure, it celebrates the death of an ancient neo-pago deity bullshit, Horus crap, Nimrod asshole, and his mom. For those of you who don't know, Nimrod, of course, is clearly mentioned in the Bible as being a son of Shem, I think. I don't know which one of them it was. One of Noah's sons. I think Nimrod was. Actually, he might have not been a son. I think he was a grandson of one of Noah's sons. But he's very closely related to the humans that landed after the flood. And what he did, of course, when he started the first city, he rebuilt Babylon. That city that was first built by his predecessor, Cain, who I think was related to him. Anyway. I guess it's good to be king. You get to run everything. You built the city. People live in your city. You're going to be king, right? Oh, God. All right, it's already 8 o'clock. I'm sorry about screwing up the first 20 minutes of the show. But I could go on and on about this Beltane thing. But what you're going to see, though, like I said, is very pervasive all throughout our culture. And it's not just wackos burning up cathedrals. There's certainly quite a bit more to it. But I think that what's important to see is that in popular culture, this stuff is being played out. So I hate to say it, but when they abuse women, dress them up, put makeup on them, get them naked, put them up in front of a camera, take pictures, whatever, all that, that's not celebrating the divine feminine. That's this satanic thing, which is destructive to female because ultimately it leads to the ritual slaughter of the very female that they celebrate and worship as the God. It's necessary for their God to ascend. And again, how many of you in this community have heard them say, ascendancy, goddess ascendancy? These are some very key words in this whole movement. And I know that if you've gone to any of these New Age movements or something like, all of them, I don't want to name names, but you know what I'm talking about. They're going to use these phrases and these key words. So it's amazing that they're still doing it. Well, there's definitely a part of this Beltane which they one of the natures of what they're doing here is they're trying to go out of their way to do things that they believe are not being Christian. Okay? They're going out of their way. Of course, this is happening right during the Easter thing. And they call that a celebration of life, fertility, and of being a hot-blooded woman, which is the naked part comes in running around going, yeah, they like to flaunt their tits out and scream, yeah, look at my tits, yeah, I'm a hot-blooded woman, yeah, goddess. And being part of nature, naturally, or being in tune with the seasons, or being a witch. And, of course, of not being Christian. Lots of chanting, dancing, singing, incantations, performing magic, drinking wine, mead, having sex. Very vital. Anyway, that is what Satanism is about too. There's no discrepancy between paganism and Satanism. The celebrations are exactly the same. So, anyway, which is interesting because as these women celebrate this stuff. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I guess in a way, what you're really doing is you're reminding yourself that as you go through this life cycle and you die, you're ultimately going to go to hell and burn. And this is why they dance around naked around the fires and like, yeah, the goddess or the crone is going to die. Maybe that's what they did back in the day. They take the crone or the old woman that was the, elder crone of the village, and they'd stick her in that, yeah, it's time to put me in the old wooden man for Beltane. Hey, I'm ready. Yes, sir, Grandma. Anyway, so I suspect that obviously they're going to suggest that this is just some neo-pagan thing, and just the word neo-pagan makes you think that it just happened to come around here recently. They never stopped being pagans. I don't think there's a such thing as neo-pagan. It didn't go out of existence just because the church became popular. Oh my God, that is simplistic. Okay, but the bottom line is, and this is what people really need to watch out for, is first of all, is that during this month period of time, and you got to remember this happens every year, the 13 days leading up to Beltane, certain rituals take place. Let's see. On April 19th is the first day of the 13-day satanic ritual day relating to fire. The fire god Baal or Molech, Nimrod. See, Nimrod is also associated with Molech. Remember, he was a human. The sun god, also known as the Roman god Saturn, Satan, devil. Okay, it's a major human sacrifice day, demanding fire sacrifice with an emphasis on children. This is the most important day of human sacrifice. And as such, it always has historic events occurring on this day. Now, it should be mentioned, again, May 1st. Anything that happens on May 1st is not going to be an accident. Okay? So what, remember, happened on May 1st? Let's see. As I mentioned a moment ago, I like to think, I don't know if you heard the beginning of the part before I started hitting the recorder, but the Church of Satan was founded on May 1st. Okay, Church of Satan, that's not too old. All right, well, let's see. Adam Weishaupt, a Bavarian guy that started the Illuminati. You've all heard about the Illuminati. Anyway, he founded the Illuminati on May 1st. Okay, they picked these days for a reason. Now, what else? Let's see, Karl Marx, the communist. Marx, guy with the beard and the hair. Not the other guy, not the bald guy, Lenin, but Marx, the guy who came before Lenin. Anyway, what do you think inspired him and his philosophies? The Illuminati. Why do you think May 1st is such an important day with the communists? Oh, I don't know. Because it's Beltane? They don't have fire, but they certainly like to use a lot of red. Let me see. Who else likes to use a lot of red? Oh, I don't know. Everybody dancing around the fire in Edinburgh, they like to paint their bodies red. I guess it makes the women feel brave to flash their titties in front of everybody, but I don't know. Who knows? Maybe the red paint helps them stay warm, because I know damn well it's not that warm in Edinburgh when they're doing these things. Let me see. Right now in Edinburgh, I wonder what the temperature is. On May 1st, what would the temperature be in Edinburgh on May 1st? In the evening, of course. I'm sure they do this stuff in the evening. Oh, that's right. They do it the night before. They burn the fires to celebrate on the 29th. So it's kind of like Halloween. Now, when I realized how this stuff worked with the calendars and the human sacrifice and all that stuff, I knew when to watch for the human sacrifice. And when I was dealing with the Getty people, I knew a few things. I knew, first of all, they shot down airplanes. That was their thing. They would shoot down airplanes. I also knew that they are very into preparing for war, and that they're into the calendar and the astrology, if you will, and that Mars was very active, and this was a period that was going to preclude a major war. And I realized that there was going to have to be a big blood sacrifice prior to them launching this big battle that they were getting ready to do in Iraq at the time. So I thought, well, let's see, what do we got here? Halloween coming up. Samhain. And I thought, better watch out. They're going to do something. They're going to pull a stunt. I told them don't do it. I told the Getty people, I said, look, if you want me to work with you, no more shooting down airplanes. They had just got through shooting down Flight 800. Okay? I didn't like that. They wanted me to save the world, help them save the world, supposedly. But first they had to stop shooting down fucking airplanes. Well, I kind of had a hunch that come Halloween, they couldn't resist. And when you think Halloween, you think it's the day of Halloween, 31st? No, it's not. It's Hallows Eve, just like Walpurgisnacht, starts at 12:01, 1 minute into the day. So it starts at the midnight of the previous day. So sure enough, what do you think happened? Halloween's getting ready to roll. Halloween goes tick, and as soon as it hit tick, first minute of Halloween, they shoot down Flight 990. Boom. I'm like, screw you guys. You couldn't resist. You had to do it. Anyway, that's how this stuff works. So one way or the other, they're going to get their blood sacrifice. So as you can imagine, every little village, all these areas, I'm sure when they did their Molech celebrations, they probably had more than one Molech statue. I'm thinking Babylon's probably a big place. They probably had different areas of Babylon that had to produce their own sacrifices. Who knows? I can't believe one baby would be enough for the entire Babylon back in those days. Who knows? But all right. So anyway, where does this all go? Okay. Obviously, we think it goes to Satan. Does it? When we're celebrating Nimrod, who's the more important character? Nimrod's mother? The Madonna and Child thing. There's another great figure, of course, and that's Lilith. She sure hates this stuff, but I can't help but saying that Lilith is famous for killing babies, wanting to kill babies, wanting babies killed. So when humans kill babies, Pizzagate, all that torture, all that crap, it's i.e. Lilith. It's meant to please Lilith. And ultimately, that's a satanic thing. But here on Earth, as I've said before, she's the real boss. And certainly that would seem to make a lot more sense in a pagan society that is run by matriarchs, wouldn't it? Sure seems kind of Lilith inspired, obviously. Let me see, what is it? How hot is it? Oh, it's only 84 degrees in here now. Let me see, it dropped about 3 degrees. Darn it. I'd open the window. I think I can open there's not going to be flies flying in here. It was definitely flies coming in earlier. Open the window. Oh. Anyway, let's see what's going on here. We should take a break because it's 8:14. Sound good? Let me get my right button here. Oh my gosh. Having mouse issues again.
Hello?
Yeah, sorry about screwing up the first half of the show. I'm sure people that are, it never fails when an important show happens, something like this takes place. Isn't that just the way it is? It's probably Lilith. I'll blame it on Lilith. Darn Lilith. She's screwing with me. Anyway, okay, yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, we ask Miss Lilith to be kind enough, and she will receive God's love. Dear guests, dear members, dear friends, dear eyes of a child of Almighty Lord. Thursdays night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Western Time. Join live on air by tuning in at www.truthcatradio.com. Thank you to you who are listening to the Stephen D. Kelley Show. Tonight, April 18th, 2019. Please join live on air by tuning in at The Stephen D. Kelley Show to a toll-free phone number, area code Los Angeles, 714-598-3125. I'll say it again. Wow, 714-598-3125. You need an up-to-date version of Adobe Flash Player to listen to TruthCat Radio. If you are using Chrome browser, your Adobe Flash default is disabled. Type Chrome /settings/content/flash into the address line. Set to allow sites to run Flash without asking permission, and add truthcatradio.com to the allowed sites. Oh, sorry for that. TruthCat Radio is listener supported. Please help support our efforts with a contribution. PayPal Stephen Kelley 714@gmail.com, or use Patreon, patreon.com/Stephen D. Kelley. Download this app for Android. Wow. My
Don't worry about the dogs.
Yeah, well, TruthCat Radio private site, truthcat.com, 3 public groups, Q-Shannon, TruthCat Radio, and Occupy the Getty, Yellow Vets, Free the Children Under the Getty. Thank you for our last White House petition to liberate pedo facility, who ended up with 1,300 plus, because there's 100,000 child sex slaves treated like cattle under the Getty right now. Childhood is destiny. Order Marines to rescue the child sex slaves under the Getty Center in LA and worldwide bunkers. Santa Monica Mountain, San Bernardino. Very sorry you have been kept enslaved with disease and misfortune. We shall release for you bouquets of fresh garlic and a lot of sun to clean out Black Goo Dracula. Very sorry, Sir Getty. Jesus is here. Eyes of a child of Almighty Lord. Forgiveness. Time to return to God's source. Abracadabra. I create as I speak. I hereby command the hands of Eternal Mother, Father God, creators of this universe. Please bless California hills, layers of cavers, down the Pacific to Fukushima. Occupy the Getty. It's that simple. Pandora's box. Hope arrives for reconciliation. God is here. World peace, paradise on earth within our lifetime. Occupy the Getty. That's the answer to everything. Free energy, technology, communication, green food, free natural medicine, clean up pollution. Paradise on earth. In order to know more, please read the book Lasers, Cavers and Magic 2011 by SDK Publishing. We kindly appreciate all your prayers and your service to others' attitude attuned to blessed Almighty Lord, His sovereign Son, Jesus the Nazarene, the Holy Spirit, angels and archangels, ascended masters and blessed ancestors of ours, enlightened golden pillars and unconditional love. I shall repeat the email. Is law17gun@aol.com. Twitter @1 Stephen D. Kelley. Skype Stephen.D.Kelley. The PayPal was StephenKelley714@gmail.com. And in order to receive your entire contribution, please write friends or family. That's very kind of you. Thank you. All right, have I said everything? Stephen, well, I would like to expose you to Fukushima nuclear disaster.
Wait, that's okay. I'm back. It's just it always takes me a minute to push all the buttons. I have to turn off.
It's okay.
You were getting ready to talk about that, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, just to say that Fukushima, the energy firm, found 8 sieverts per hour of radiation, while 42 units are also detected outside its foundations. Okay, back to you, Stephen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bye.
First of all, let me just say hi to everybody. Oh, look, we have Oceanside. First, look at Oceanside. All right, Oceanside, I hope you're... Okay, coconut oil, Oceanside. Google oil pulling. You're going to get... Who's that? Oh, that's Emily. Henry's excited. Anyway, get some Get yourself good coconut oil, and basically you're going to put that in your mouth and let it melt and hold it and swish it around, and it's going to kill any infection and repair loss of nutrients and things in the tooth and the jaw, the muscles and all that. So very, very important you start that right away. And you can't keep it in your mouth long enough. If you can keep it in your mouth 20 minutes, that's great, but try to keep it in your mouth at least 10 minutes before you spit it out. Don't swallow it. Okay, Google oil pulling, and don't use the olive oil, use the coconut oil. Okay, hi, United Kingdom, still here. Ottawa, Cyprus, Texas, Buffalo, Czech Republic, still here, obviously. Florida, Arizona. Hey, Arizona, what's going on, man? You've been like whatever, you know. You need to call in and say what's up. Also, Grants Pass, RD. You need to call in, of course. Chicago. What's up, Chicago? Blah, 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 blah. Hummelstown, yes, you can call in. Oakland, California. Milford, Connecticut. New Milford. Who's in New Milford? It can't possibly be Laura. Listen, iPad. Oh. Anyway, Oceanside again. Oh, and Hawaii. Can't forget Hawaii. Aloha. All right. Anyway, Oceanside, I'm serious. That stuff's like miracle. It'll do miracles. Okay. You got to get into that. Get that stuff. What else? All right. Whoever wants to call in, now's the time. And I really regret missing the first half of the show. But, I kind of had a premonition that was going to happen because it never fails when something's really important like this. Something always tries to kill it. And unfortunately, I can't go back and do it again. I mean, it's not like I'm going to do the show over. But at least you got, I think, most of it. But what you didn't get, those of you that missed are listening to the recording on YouTube, well, you can contact some of these people that did listen if you guys want to paraphrase for me. But again, we're talking about Beltane and why it's a big deal and why it's important and why it's completely permeating our entire society and why all this death and stuff and hidden destruction and usually things involving fire are cloaked parts of rituals. And once again, these rituals are not just these pagan song and dance routines. They actually do magic. Okay. So it's like the sex thing, the ritual sex. Yeah, there's something there. Okay. Something's going on. That doesn't make it bad. However, anyway. Okay. Who wants to call in? RD? Who am I going to drag in here first? I'm looking at another page other than Skype. But, this is the worst part of the show because you guys gotta listen to me flounder around here. Oh, there's Chicago. Chicago, what's up? Are you the one that's been? I should drag your butt in here. No, then you'll talk about something. Let me see. RD, there you are. Where'd you go, RD? You're probably trying to hide from me now, huh? Ad, hell yeah, ad. Go ahead and call me, Diane. All right. I want to hear what you have to say about this whole. I think you probably already knew all this stuff. Yo, RD, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I was waiting for you to get to Lilith. I still remember junior high was about the last time I did catechism, and it was all over the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, and too many questions about the Lilith story, and they didn't like it.
Really? You were hitting them up with the Catholic school? Oh my God, you should have got the ruler, man.
No. I was fortunate enough to have to do school. I went to so I had to do catechism on Saturdays.
Oh.
But I can't remember. I had been over to the university library, and I'm like that. I'll start reading one thing and go to really, just wander through. And I found this book on, like Celtic and Druids. One thing led to another. And I read this basically, correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't it be like early Hebrew Old Testament reference and you start reading about Lilith? I may be wrong.
Yeah, it's coming, all the Lilith stuff comes out of Hebrew text. And it's mostly Middle Ages.
So I remember from a long time ago, and every time I ever brought it up, I'd get in trouble. There or anywhere, people like, what are you talking about,
Yeah, what are you talking about Hebrew stuff here in the Catholic school? What's wrong with you, boy? You're a bad mackerel snapper.
Not, well, my mom was Italian, and I grew up Roman Catholic.
Dear.
So God,
so did you eat fish today? Are you eating fish tomorrow? What's up, man?
Let's see, what did we have? I had some really good chicken, cheese, tostados or tostitos. Like
Well, is the
little.
old lady going to give you fish tomorrow? Come on, Good Friday.
No, I don't think we have any.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I
You're
know.
going to hell, man. You're going to hell.
Oh, you sound like my mother.
All right, Diane, what do you have to say about this? Happy Easter. Happy Easter, Diane.
Oh, happy Easter to you too, Stephen, and everyone else who's listening.
Oh.
And the story or the teaching that you gave was so good. And I really appreciated it because I was never one to study about the satanic side of this, but now that in the beginning when we first got to talk, you said to me about us Christians not having the right idea and that we were messed up. And I can see little by little it's all coming together.
We've been infiltrated. We've been infiltrated.
Yeah, right.
Just remember, Christ wasn't responsible for any of this stuff. He wasn't around.
Right.
He didn't write any of that crap, right?
And they're saying more and more about the 401k church and how it's all mixed in together with what you just explained. Everything you just explained.
Well, I hate to say it, but there's the only thing that would explain it was infiltration, because why else would the Satanists be embracing the name of a Catholic saint as one of their most important holidays? That's crazy.
Well, the way the Catholics took over when Paul went around witnessing about Jesus, and then the Catholics was the first. They were the first.
I don't think they had Catholics back during Paul.
They were the first. They were the first.
It was the emperor that made them Catholics. It wasn't until Rome got involved, but the Romans.
Yeah. The Romans were the first big church.
Hey, Brian, how's it going?
Wasn't the anthology the Roman cult and the Roman Catholic Church, Peter's pence for the tax? That's where you get the money thing going. I mean, there's a lot there to that too, but it wasn't the Roman Catholic Church yet.
Well, I just want to point out real quick, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think most of the apostles were executed. Maybe not, because I know a lot of them went off into what is now Europe and became part of royal lineage and carried on. And obviously, of course, again, then there's the whole Mary Magdalene thing. And we're not going to go into that tonight, but certainly that's a big part of it.
The one idea I'm trying to express is that the Roman Catholic Church became the first, and then Wesley and Luther became the United Methodist and the Lutheran, and they all broke away, but everybody was together, and they infiltrated all the stuff you just were talking about tonight. All that was mixed in with it and carried on.
Well, this is the thing. Let's say Martin Luther is disgusted with what's going on in the church and he breaks away and starts his thing. How long do you think it took before whatever he did got taken over? Right?
Right. Everything gets mixed up everywhere. It's all one big pile of soup.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I said, when you look at, say, the burning of the witches in Salem, I wouldn't be surprised if they did that on May 1st or the night before May 1st. I wouldn't be surprised. And when you look at the legal system, remember, they kill a man, a woman, and a child. Okay, that's part, and then they offer up whatever animals. So when you look for these killings, these sacrifices, who symbolizes what? Somebody's got to fill these functions. But one of the things that's really sad in this society, but I think it's the same thing that went on in the old times, is that they get the people worked up to where they all want to be part of it, and they're willing to do it because it's necessary for the person making the offering, giving up a child, to do it of their own free will. And obviously, when you're having your child vaccinated, there's a pretty good chance that child, 1 in 1,000 or less, is going to die. And that's a lottery. And you're willingly offering up your child's life when you do that. So we have to look at any opportunity that's similar where we're offering up whatever, your child, you're putting your child up on a pedestal. And whenever you're putting someone up on a pedestal, be it a child or a woman, especially whenever a woman is being put up on a pedestal, you got to take a close look at who's putting her up on a pedestal and what's going to happen to her afterwards. And I want to give you a good example of this, because in the protocols, they always talk about their scapegoating and they're eliminating this and all that. We know they're the same people. We know they're Satanists and whatnot. Well, here's the one. How about Allison Mack? Okay. They want to prosecute her and persecute her for being involved in this child molestation, Pizzagate stuff, human trafficking. And yet, when you look at her, she was previously a young, beautiful thing, set up, celebrated. Look at the pretty girl. Oh, she's so pretty. Let's all love her and all this. Oh, now it's time to kill her, cut her head off, throw her to the wolves, burn her ass. She's evil. Look at who's doing it. Who's putting the woman up to be burned and evil? It's the fucking Satanists. So when we have a bunch of Satanists saying, look at this Allison Mack, she's bad, right? Look at her, she's bad. Of course she's bad. She was bad for you. Well, you want to kill her, right? You want to burn her, right? Yeah, happy Beltane. Let's burn the witch. You know, that's how it's done. So either you're going to take an unwilling subject, the man or the woman, or you're going to take whoever it is at one point in the process, and this is part of the ritual, that person's going to be celebrated and prepared for the ritual. So just because it's not a bunch of Toltecs taking a little girl out of a hut and washing her up and dressing her up real fine and putting her up on a fancy flowery throne for a few days before they kill her, it's the same thing. They just do it in a whole bunch of different fancy ways. And that's, Hollywood is full of fancy ways. So think about that whenever you see these celebrated Hollywood actresses. And remember what happens when that happens. Sometimes there's a lot of loose production. Oh, no, not her. They killed her. But at the same time, look at all the people that are proud. My Susie was a beautiful little execution. Remember her last year when Susie was offered up to the sun god? Oh, my God, she was beautiful. Yeah, I know she burned and screamed. Yeah, but she was beautiful for a couple days, you know? And they're still doing that.
You know, you're making me think, who do we know as a daughter that wears a cross upside down and we call her mother a witch?
There's more symbolism there. There's more symbolism.
But I mean,
they love that symbolism. Okay, let me throw something out here. Okay, this is unrelated, but I'm going to throw that out here only because I can do this in the show because I know they're listening. Okay, so you guys, this is, you know, I don't really want to talk about this, but I'm going to throw this out there. Okay, this is for the Illuminati. Okay, the dark side that goes, because those guys listen. Okay, listen, guys. Today is April 14, 2000, or April 18, 2019. You have 30 days to relinquish it all, or there will be no mercy after that. Okay? That's it. Keys to everything. 30 days. That's it. All right? You've been warned. All right. I had to do that. I had to get that over with. I didn't want to do that on Facebook because you know, people would be like, what? But I know in a video like this, they're gonna hear it and they're gonna get the message. So I've given you 30 days, boys. All right. Where were we? Oh, hey, Brian, what's up? I haven't heard much from you. What's going on? Are you there? Did I lose Brian? I can't believe this shit. All right. My God. I can't believe it. All right. Oh, Brian lost his internet connection. What the hell, Brian? My God. Let me see if I can bring him back in here. All right. Well, it's really unfortunate we lost the first 20 minutes of the show, but like I said, I tried to. Brian, turn that video off. How's it going? You're looking slick though. Let me tell you. I don't know what's up with that though. Sunglasses. What's going on, dude? Trying to be slick. You're here, right? How's it going? Turn on your audio, man. Come on. It's the button with the little microphone thing. It's the
yeah. I hit the wrong button, and then I turned the video on instead of the microphone on.
Uh-huh. Yeah, uh-huh. Mm-hmm. See how you are. Hey, folks. This is Brian Pearson of Volition Armament, back with us after a long time.
I've been gone for a little bit.
I know, man. I thought I was taking it personal. I thought you were angry about something. What the hell?
No. I kind of picked up some work, and I've been out of town, and I got to go out of town again. So,
all right. Well, next time, send me a note and say, "Yo, dude, I'm not ignoring you." Okay.
No, I've been listening. I just haven't been able to get on.
Oh, you've been listening, hearing me go, "Where the hell's Brian?" But you haven't been saying. You haven't. RD, have we not been saying "Where the hell's Brian" now for a couple of weeks?
I know we covered it pretty good last week.
I know, and I actually meant to get on last week, and I actually forgot what day it was. I was out of town on Thursday. I had to leave. I was driving out to Oklahoma.
You mean you don't schedule your life around my show? What the hell is wrong with you?
Of course I do. What are you talking about?
Oh man, I can't believe it. Heresy. Oh.
It's an interesting topic that you have tonight, because I was talking about this with a friend of mine not too long ago.
All right. Well, let me just say this. You guys know how this stuff works. This is all a download, and because shows no exception, because I waited until almost Thursday. In fact, I think it was Wednesday night. I'm thinking, I'm not really putting too much thought into it. Absolutely no effort was going into coming up with it, but I was just sitting there, and I'm thinking, okay, this Notre Dame thing certainly is going to be hard to not talk about. But then I realized, of course, Beltane. I'm like, as soon as I realized it was Beltane, I thought, holy shit, how did I miss that? So of course everybody needs to know about it, because if I don't know about it, you don't know about it, right? So when I started looking into it, of course, what do I see? I see all the tits with the red paint, which is certainly a distraction, I think, for most people. I know I saw a few that looked pretty reasonable, but aside from that, when I started finding the connection with the Satanists, and then I found out about the Walpurgis Nacht, I'm like, wait a minute here. What the hell is this Walpurgis Nacht? And I'm just like, oh, it's the feast of a Catholic saint that was fighting witches. I'm like, wait a minute here.
That was a new one for me. When that developed this morning, when I first saw it going on, the first thing I searched online, I typed in fire and ritual and got kind of the same thing you did. And then I got busy doing something. I came back later to finish, and then you started posting your stuff. So, yeah, not as much as you did, but that's the first thing. So
you're saying I spammed the internet with a bunch of fire-related Beltane stuff, huh?
Yeah, well, that's the first thing I did. I go, okay, it's not what they say it is. There's more to it. So all I did was Google 2 words, fire and ritual. And, well, you know where that's going to lead you.
I Googled Beltane Satan. First I Googled Beltane. I'm like, oh, great. I don't need to see all these.
What was funny is I saw you post that. When I first saw it, I go, Beltane, I think he's got that wrong. And when I came back, it had been corrected or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, it took a minute.
Yeah, me too, because I'm sitting there going, I don't think that's right. I used Beltane and got it, got Beltane out of it. But that's where I went.
But to my support, or to my, I don't know what's the word, defense, there is another spelling to Beltane. Like I said, there's the IE, and of course, naturally, when you look at the Gaelic words, they don't even look anything close to the word Beltane. And now we know it means balefire. We could say balefire.
Yeah, balefire.
Balefire is what it is.
Well, so I'm going along, and I get to the Wiccan, pagan, where you're at with this. And that's when I go, wait a minute, Lilith.
Uh-huh.
Because
Yeah, the divine feminine and all that.
I can remember discussions walking away from people that were like, you do realize what you're talking about is not really a good thing. I didn't know how to say it and whatnot. But yeah, I've heard the divine feminine, the sacrifice. That's all not new to me. But for me, the evolution was like, okay, he's going to do it. I just let go. I had other things to do. I'll wait for the show tonight.
Yeah,
but
well,
when I got,
we didn't get it all on the recording, though, huh?
Pardon me.
Unfortunately, we didn't get it all on the recording.
I think you got a pretty good.
Hey, you know what I'm going to have? I'm going to have a.
You got most of it.
40 minutes or so. Well, I mean,
the connection. The important thing is you got to the connection, which I think is important. Nip it in the bud. Get back to the big. Well, we're always talking about her, really, in all this. Like, I wonder where the hell she's hiding out.
What does Lilith have to do with all this stuff, huh?
Well, the analogy of cutting the head off a snake. You got all these places in the world or whatever examples where I think people think they're trying to cut a head off a snake. And what you're talking about is the kraken. Those are tentacles, not snakes. Mm-hmm. We're trying to get to the kraken. Because, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand. The complexity of it all is a little more thick than people can comprehend, I think.
I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around all of it, but I get it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's sort of, the thing is, though, is that when you do figure it out, and you do, it's like today when I started getting this stuff with the Catholic shit, I'm like, holy fuck, burning the witches at the stake was a ritual. And it's like, holy shit, they are them. It's them. They are them. They're both them. There's no line. They're both them. They're both doing the same. They're both two sides of the parts. They're both providing part of what's necessary to perform the ritual.
It went on for years, and my mom would always ask me, like, why, what bothers you so much? I finally told them, when I going from to church, getting there, and walking in, it was so dark. You know what I mean? Not that it wasn't light out or anything. I mean,
a Catholic church.
Yeah, some of the not all, but some of the churches I went into, I just oppressive, dark feeling. Not I wouldn't quite say evil, but boy, I was never comfortable.
I was an altar boy.
Almost. I kind of failed.
Hey man, I got caught. Well, I mean, let's just say this: I got into the altar wine. It's pretty bad stuff.
My granddad, Italian, made his own wine. And everybody used to like to come over and drink wine with him. That's how good it was. And I think somewhere around 8 or 10 years old, before we moved west last visit, somewhere in there, we got in trouble getting down into the big barrel.
Mm-hmm. Shame on you. And you got way too drunk and you threw up all over the place. I know what happened.
Oh, I know.
You stupid kid. Why did you try to drink a half a gallon? What's wrong with you?
Well, that's why you didn't get whipped really bad. You probably suffered enough.
You lay in your puke for a while. Yeah, I know what it's like. Anyway, well, I don't do that, but I've seen it.
He could make some wine. He was an orphan.
All right, you and your tangents. Speaking of tangents, Where's Laura tonight? Is she in New Milford? No, she's out here. Maybe she has a New Milford phone. That's what it is. She's got the New Milford phone.
Just good on the Lilith connection. I think that was the important feature to get to, where it all comes from.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's going to go back to Lilith. But the real thing tonight, and I think that if you're part of the community, you can relate to this because you don't have to hear too much. It's like even Diane said, you may have never understood any of this, and all of a sudden it starts making sense. And it's like the same thing worked for me. And I know that like the feminists are a perfect example. The feminists who celebrate the divine feminine and they're, Lilith who's got a bad rap and all that sort of thing. When they have to look at this and realize that all of this celebration of the divine feminine is nothing more than preparation for the woman to want to be the sacrifice for the ascendance of the goddess ritual, It's a con job. It's all a big con job intended to make you think that you're lucky if you get to die for Satan, ultimately. And that's what this is all about. It's to make us willingly want to do this because, oh, we're goddesses, we're goddesses. Okay, now we're going to kill you. We're going to use whatever. We're going to give you cancer. We're going to give you abortions. We're going to do whatever. We're going to pretend to celebrate you in public, but we're actually going to be working actively to try to kill you. And that's what Lilith does.
I agree. Got to fatten you up before we slaughter you.
That's right. It's part of the ritual. We're going to dress you up and fatten you up and tell you you're wonderful. And then we're going to kill you.
One of the good points you made, too, was the fact that this stuff's been going on for centuries, and they just find new ways to reintroduce it. Like you were saying, that the whole pagan thing is the neo-pagan. That doesn't exist. It's been around for centuries.
Always been pagans. Yeah, they didn't just start being pagans.
They just change how
out of nowhere.
They just try to keep making it look better. And society is that way. I mean, if you think about it, all the advertising, the hot chick on the billboard while you're driving through Texas, advertising her real estate company or whatever, all that is everywhere.
Something else I want to throw out there. There's a guy, when I was doing my search on Beltane, I came across some artwork. And this art was apparently a guy who was very famous for doing a lot of stuff that was kind of satanic in nature. But this particular piece was very graphic and very colorful and ornate. And, well, let's say it was a big, it was kind of pornographic, but it was a painting. It was done in 18-something or other, 1889 or something, 1878, whatever. But a while back. And it was called Beltane, and what it was like an orgy with naked women and one guy, and I suspect the guy is probably the artist, and there was, let's see, what else? Yuan's Death and Possible Wicked Connection. Oh, we can talk about that, Missy, but hang on. You can call in, but give me a second here. Let me finish this story. I probably already forgot it. What was I saying? Fill me in, quick. Wait.
A pornographic picture.
Oh, yeah, pornographic picture. Right, thank you. Okay. In this picture, not only are a bunch of really voluptuous, nice-looking naked women, in this painting, but there's like a couple demons, and one of the demons is clearly chasing another demon that's supposed to be kind of a female demon because it's sort of haggard-looking and it has tits, but then it looks like it has like a piece of cloth or something hanging from it, and one leg is sort of hanging out under the cloth, and what's hanging out looks like a normal woman, with a young woman's leg, but the rest of it is all demon. The other thing that's in this picture is a goat. Now, you people, this is the part that is not acceptable to Facebook standards. I can't share this with you, and that is pan and goat fucking. And all that part of this Midsummer's Dream type of satanic crap that we're talking about that is Beltane, there is bestiality involved. Okay, all that sex, all that getting close to nature. You know what getting close to nature sometimes means for people having wild sex? It means fucking bestiality. Okay? And damn well when we talk about this going on forever, that this is the sort of crap that got the world flooded once already. And they're still doing it. Remember, according to Enoch, it was man's transgressions against fowl or chickens that really pissed God off. Now, I know when the NSA was telling me about wiping out all the men, women, and children in that village in Honduras, or wherever the hell it wasn't until they told me about killing the chickens that I fucking snapped. What? You killed the chickens? What? The chickens were going to tell people something? You could have just let them run off into the bushes? What the fuck did you have to kill the chickens for, motherfuckers? Oh, my God. Really? You're in the middle of a jungle and you had to kill the chickens too? That's going overboard. That's when I snapped and realized there was something wrong with the NSA. Just like God snapped when men started fucking chickens. He's like, you're fucking my chickens? They make eggs. You can eat them. They're wonderful. They give you feathers. Now you're fucking them? What the fuck? I didn't give them to you to fuck. I'm flooding this shit. It's over. I'm pissed. Right? Isn't that what happened? According to the book of Enoch, that the one that got struck, you can only find in the Dead Sea Scrolls that was struck from the Bible. That's one of the things that happened.
Yeah, but wasn't it the Nephilim that was doing most of the bestiality?
No, Nephilim weren't doing the bestiality. That was humans. Nephilim were so far above that. Come on. For bestiality, for a Nephilim is fucking a human. Okay? They didn't have to screw animals. They were coming down a bunch of steps just to screw the human women. Remember? It was, all right, let me just explain this Nephilim thing. People get all confused. They think they were like angels that were kicked out of heaven that fell to earth and said, let's fuck the women. Well, the white women. No, it didn't work like that. What they did, and now this is according to ancient Sumerian text, if you want to believe that, is that the Nephilim were actually Anunnaki. They were a contingent of Anunnaki that were here basically to help control the humans mining the gold and get it ready for the next time the Nibiru came around so they could collect the gold. They were the remote outpost. And they didn't have women. They didn't have women, okay? They weren't screwing. These Anunnaki weren't screwing. So what happened? According to Sumerian legend, the dark side, or the character portraying Satan, taught the human hybrid women created by the Anunnaki how to do a few special things. They taught them how to dye their clothes with bright colors because that didn't exist before. They taught them how to create makeup so that they could make the women look all pretty and give them nice, colorful clothing. Then they created musical instruments, and then they created music. And you know what came after that? Women dancing with makeup and fancy, colorful clothing, looking sexy. Now, you know what they did once they got that far? They took and they put on a display for the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki are sitting there in their little, fortresses where they controlled all the humans and mined the gold. And they're looking out there and go, you can see what I see? Yeah. The damn gold mining hybrid slaves are all dressed up looking kind of sexy there. You see those women down there? I know they're smaller than us, but holy crap, that one there, look at that. Look at that colorful dress and that red lipstick and what have you. And then music. Wow, I kind of like that music. I think I want to leave my position and leave the Anunnaki fortress and go down there and fornicate with some of them little tiny little ladies with their fancy dresses. They look all sexy with their makeup and stuff. Okay, now why did that happen? Supposedly Satan was luring them down there. That's what they say. What were they doing? So in other words, somehow the humans were tricked into someone manipulated the humans to trick these Anunnaki into going down there and having sex with the humans and producing whatever hybrid it was that they produced. That's the Sumerian side of the story. Okay.
Well, somewhere in some of that text, I could be wrong or thinking of something else, but there was mention of the Nephilim or the giants, having sex with animals and creating Minotaur and all these weird,
there's two things.
creatures.
There's the Elohim and the Nephilim. I get them mixed up.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, one of them are the giants. I can't tell. Now, this is the thing. The Jewish people in the Bible, there's a lot of mention of the Elohim. There's not a lot of mention of the Nephilim. They kind of revere these characters, especially the Jews do that a lot. And I suspect that those are the product of the Nephilim, the so-called Nephilim, or the Anunnaki that mixed with humans. So when the Anunnaki mixed with the humans, they produced the Elohim, or the other way around. One of the two. I get it. But either way, that's where the giants came from, because obviously the Anunnaki were giants. But the characters that we have in history, like not the guy that David and Goliath. Goliath, of course, was one of those characters, and certainly there's been quite a few of them, throughout times. I know that, like, for instance, with that movie with Troy, where they have Brad Pitt slaying the champion of the other side, That's the sort of thing that they would do. These civilizations, they'd find these guys and they would be their champions. I mean, I know you've seen these pictures of that big giant walking around in Japan, right? You've seen that, right? Come on. How many here have seen the picture of the giant walking around Japan?
Yeah, I can't remember how tall he is.
Oh, he's a couple times taller than a human.
Yeah.
He's pretty big. Wearing his little sumo shorts. Oh, my God. But you notice, this is the thing people have to realize. Being a giant is a lot like trying to build a Megatron or something, a big metallic, like a structure. What you don't realize is that the laws of physics don't change. When something gets larger, the weight to support ratio has to almost remain the same. That's kind of like why birds have to have hollow bones to fly. So in other words, if you use conventional manufacturing techniques to try to build some big, tall walking robot, let's say, it wouldn't work because the material doesn't have the integrity in order to do it. You'd have to have some sort of modern new alloys to do it. And this applies also to the body. If you're going to be 20 foot tall, 16 foot tall, whatever, things are going to change. Obviously you have to have extremely strong bones, legs, whatever, to support all that weight. The bone structure has to be different. All kinds of things you can't have a scale increase of size, expect that to work. You know what I'm saying? Things have to change by ratio. That's why when you look at these giants, they've always got like ridiculously huge trapezoids. And usually that's because that damn head weighs so damn much, they've got to have these ridiculous muscles to hold it up. Stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why they look like big ogres. Their whole
or they'll have
physiology had to change.
Yeah, their physiology has to do with the structure, the physics of what's necessary to complete a structure like that. For instance, they may have to have big, strong legs and torso, but they don't have to have big arms because it's not necessary for them to fulfill their functions. Their arms don't have to be per ratio same size. This is probably the same reason why a Tyrannosaurus doesn't have big arms, because they don't have to have big arms. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get it.
T-Rex, they don't need thumbs though either.
No, they don't. Yes. Sometimes kitty cats have thumbs. All right,
dogs have them.
I'm having issues because I'm trying to capture this feral cat and take it in as a rescue, and it failed the first time. But I was basically told that if I capture this feral cat, I have to get help paying for it. I can't kind of face that, so I'm throwing that out there. Just have to, because I don't ask for money. I try not to ask for money, but I was basically told if I'm going to rescue this cat, I have to ask for money to pay for it, because they always end up costing money. Fleas, getting them fixed, shit like that.
Yeah, I know that story. We have 3. We have one that lives the garage in and out, and then 2 that were born on the property that are still around. And yeah, it adds up. Well,
it's wild cats. These cats are actually outside of a restaurant, and you know what I mean? It's like it's not really a cool place for a cat to live.
Oh, I know. That's what my wife does. She rescues animals. So we've even got a trap we use. So yeah, I know what.
Well, that'd be handy.
Yeah.
Not that I really want to use.
Well,
a trap.
fortunately, there's local financial support for TNR costs. It doesn't quite
that's
always
actually
cost.
All right. Since we're almost, look at this. It's 8:59. We're actually done with the show. Holy crap. I totally went over it, probably because I messed up earlier. But I got to go, okay? We got to finish this silly show. Sorry, everybody that missed the first 20 minutes, but blame it on Satan. Satan didn't want you to hear this stuff, so you're going to have to glean do some research. Yeah, no kidding. All right, we're gonna leave, but listen, real quick, Diane, real quick, you can do your prayer, but quick, fast, okay? Ready, go. Gee, Diane, you're not ready, huh? Wow, look at that. Diane, you are here, aren't you? 717.
Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Hello?
Diane, come on.
Okay,
Hurry
okay.
up. Hurry up.
That if you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For with your heart you believe and are justified or made right, and with your mouth you confess and are saved. It is just as the scripture says, anyone who believes in him will never be put to shame. Thank you, Jesus.
All right. Okay, Diane. Thank you very much. Now, get out of here, okay? Go. Go on. Beat it.
God bless. Take care.
Adios. Okay. All right, Brian, glad you got some money. I hope it helps you keep that truck running. Hello? Yeah, huh? Yeah, huh?
Yeah. No, I picked up some side work just so I can get some money back from spending money on my truck so I can start building up north. So
Yeah, I hear that.
unfortunately, it's some work that's going to take me out of town for a few weeks at a time. But it's all ends up being like overtime because I get paid for the drive. I got to go to
All right,
Vegas.
as long as it does at least a little bit of serving the mission, okay? Just factor that in there, okay?
Oh, it's going to serve the mission. That's why I need to get up north and start building.
All right, then. Get to work, damn it. Hurry up.
So, because I've been working with my
you heard
neighbor
me. I
up
said
there.
30 days, man, okay? 30 days.
30 days.
They got 30 days, motherfucker.
Well, and maybe next week when we have more time on the show to have call-ins, I have some information on the Getty. I'll post it on Facebook.
All right, that sounds good. Post it on Facebook and we'll get into it. All right, for real quick on the Getty, there's shit going down. There is shit going down.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you real quick, we're going to close out the show. It's the problem about the Gettys. There's still a lot of fear out there. Okay. So you guys have got to overcome that fear. And this is one thing I'm going to leave you with because we're all going to get out of here real quick. And that is, if you have fear, you are not in control. And we have to be in control. And you're not in control if you have any fear. Okay. So once you have that fear, you give up all control. So stay in control. Forget about the fear. You're in control.
That's correct.
You have nothing to be afraid of because you're in control. And as soon as you're afraid, you're not in control.
Well, you don't have anything to be afraid of because once they're exposed, they can't do anything.
Yeah, well, once you realize you're in control, what the hell do you have to be afraid of?
Right. There's way more of us than there is of them. Just remember that.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. All right. Get out of here. Go.
All right. Good night, guys.
Later. Okay. RD, adios, man. Beat it.
Yeah.
I'm starting my patch. Okay. I hope I can get this shit going here.
Just saw the full moon rise over the hill, so that's where I'm going. And by the next one, 30 days from now, I get it.
All right.
We'll see you then. Night.
All right. Later. Late. Adios. Get out of here. He's still here. Let me hang up on him. Remove from call. Ha! He's gone. Ha! Anyone else here still? No, I don't think so. Well, just our break lady is still here, of course. All right. Well, anyway, okay, people, again, we're going a little over time, but like I said, I do apologize for messing up the first part of the show. And I got to tell you that preparing the little bit that I did prepare was, these revelations and shocks, realizing that the church is one and the same as those other people. Oh, well, hard to swallow sometimes, but that's just the way it is. So, but it's real, okay? So I wouldn't say it if I didn't think it was true. All right, but I don't want to hear about church Catholic pedo shit, okay? I'm still Catholic, and we still celebrate Easter, and there's good stuff, okay? So you catch more flies with honey. Anyway, folks, that's it. This is the Stephen D. Kelley Show. My name is Stephen D. Kelley, and once again, it is April 18th, 2019. The title of tonight's show is Beltane. It's 9:04 p.m., and I'm going to sign out. So with that, I'm going to say good night. God bless. Adios. Oh, wait. I can't say goodbye yet. I don't have my music thing. There's a commercial. I gotta let the commercial play. I gotta have to do that again. Whoops. Oh my God. They run 2 ads now. That's such bastards. That's Facebook now, or YouTube. I guess so they can make a little extra money. They run 2 ads. Isn't that ridiculous? Anyway, Like I said, here we go. Oh, by the way, hey, all of you that listen live all the time, thanks. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next week. Okay. Once again, goodbye. God bless. Adios. And goodbye.